20 TV conspiracy theories that turned out to be true.
You got no respect.
No respect.
Now get out.
Prepare to have your mind blown. TV shows aren't just entertainment. They've been hiding shocking secrets all along. From eerie predictions to jaw-dropping behind-the-scenes truths, these 20 conspiracy theories sounded crazy at first, but turned out to be absolutely true. What's real? What's fake? And how did we miss the clues right in front of us?
In history, she bangs, I'm wasted by the way she...
Thank you.
Stay tuned because you're about to uncover the wildest revelations in television history. Trust us, you won't believe what's coming next. Legends of the Hidden Temple was rigged.
Producers were only allowed to give out 8 championships a year, so there was a budget.
Legends of the Hidden Temple, with its iconic host Kirk Fogg, enthralled young viewers with its promise of adventure and treasure. A persistent conspiracy theory suggested the final temple runs weren't entirely fair, claiming producers manipulated outcomes due to budget limitations on prize payouts. The theory posited a cap on yearly championships, forcing interventions in the final segment. Initially, this was dismissed as mere speculation or the sour grapes of losing contestants. However, years later, the truth surfaced. Kirk Fogg himself confirmed these budget constraints significantly impacted the show. He admitted producers had a vested interest in controlling the number of winners, confirming long-held suspicions of behind-the-scenes manipulation. This revelation shattered the illusion of pure competition. The confirmation came directly from the host. Kirk Fogg stated, "There was a budget, and they didn't want kids winning every single time. There were times when you could tell they almost wouldn't help you as much if they knew they were getting close to their limit." This quote explicitly confirms the manipulation driven by financial concerns. This revelation significantly altered public perception of the beloved show. It revealed a layer of artificiality where financial considerations sometimes trumped genuine competition. The nostalgic memories for many are now tempered by the knowledge that the climactic temple run wasn't always a test of pure skill and chance, validating years of fan speculation about the show's inherent fairness. Survivor contestants get coaching. Survivor, with its demanding challenges orchestrated by Jeff Probst, cultivated an image of raw, unpredictable competition. However, a long-standing theory claimed that the challenges were far from spontaneous, alleging contestants received significant pre-challenge coaching. This was often dismissed as speculation, with many believing success hinged on in-the-moment ingenuity. Yet the reality of challenge preparation is much more structured. Contestants reportedly received detailed explanations and walkthroughs, allowing for preemptive strategizing. The brief televised instructions are heavily edited, masking the extensive guidance provided. This ensures smoother filming but also alters the perception of organic problem-solving. Confirmation of this coaching comes from insiders. Former contestants and crew have described comprehensive briefings and practice runs unseen by viewers, revealing a level of preparation contradicting the show's narrative of pure instinct. Former player Rob Cesternino stated, "They definitely walk you through it. They want to make sure you understand the rules and that it's going to work on TV." This insider quote directly acknowledges the coaching process. The confirmation of pre-challenge coaching reveals a constructed layer to Survivor. While strategy remains vital, the element of wholly unprepared competition is less prominent than portrayed. This shifts understanding of the show, highlighting how reality TV prioritizes efficient filming alongside the illusion of spontaneity, validating previous suspicions. Seinfeld killed off Susan due to actress's unpopularity.
I can't do it! Help me, Jerry, help me! Why don't you just break it off with her? Tell her it's over!
The abrupt and bizarre death of George's fiancée Susan on Seinfeld sparked a persistent theory. Actress Heidi Swedberg was written off due to unpopularity with the cast. Dismissed initially as rumor, the theory suggested a lack of on-screen chemistry with Swedberg led to the character's demise, not purely for story purposes. Whispers of strained dynamics circulated for years. It was said that Julia Louis-Dreyfus, in particular, found it difficult to create comedic moments with Swedberg. The theory claimed this awkwardness impacted the writing, leading to the drastic decision to eliminate Susan. The unusual nature of her death, licking toxic glue, further fueled speculation about underlying reasons. The truth emerged during a radio interview where Jason Alexander, who played George, confirmed the cast's struggles working with Swedberg. He recounted Julia Louis-Dreyfus, jokingly suggesting killing off Susan, an idea embraced by writer Larry David. This admission validated long-held suspicions about the behind-the-scenes dynamics influencing the plot. Jason Alexander explained, "I couldn't figure out how to play off of her. Her instincts for doing a scene and mine were always misfiring." This quote reveals the core issue of clashing acting styles that reportedly contributed to the decision. The confirmation reveals a less than perfect picture of the beloved sitcom's creative process. It highlights how interpersonal dynamics, rather than purely artistic choices, can shape narrative outcomes, changing how viewers interpret Susan's controversial exit and the show's overall production. John Amos was fired from Good Times. The sudden and off-screen death of James Evans in Good Times shocked viewers. Officially, John Amos left to pursue film roles. However, a persistent rumor suggested a less amicable departure, claiming Amos was fired due to disagreements with the show's creative direction. This theory was often downplayed, with the focus remaining on Amos's stated career aspirations. Many accepted the network's explanation at face value, attributing the character's exit to natural storyline progression. The conspiracy centered on Amos's outspoken criticism of the show's increasing reliance on the comedic antics of his on-screen son, JJ, played by Jimmy Walker. J.J. quote, "S. Dynamite." Catchphrase and slapstick became a central focus, a shift Amos reportedly felt undermined the show's original intent to portray the realities of a black family in a Chicago housing project. His dissatisfaction with this shift in tone allegedly led to clashes with the producers. Years later, accounts from Amos himself and other sources confirmed the theory. He openly discussed his frustration with the show's direction and his vocal objections to what he perceived as a move towards caricature rather than authentic representation. This confirmation validated the long-held suspicions that his departure was not purely driven by career ambition. John Amos stated in an interview, "I wanted to present a more fully rounded picture of a black family, not just the comedic elements." This quote encapsulates his core disagreement with the show's evolving focus. The confirmation of Amos's firing due to creative differences revealed a tension between artistic integrity and commercial success in television. It highlighted how behind-the-scenes conflicts can drastically alter beloved shows and spark discussions about representation and the responsibility of portraying authentic narratives on screen. Ready to be shocked? Stick with me and comment number 1 if you're watching until the end. The Ingram incident on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was a cheating scandal. Charles Ingram's improbable £1 million win on the British version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire became infamous as the coughing major scandal. Ingram navigated the questions with a series of hesitant and seemingly lucky correct answers, raising immediate suspicions among the production team. His performance starkly contrasted with previous contestants, appearing oddly fortunate in his selections. The producers' suspicions weren't unfounded. Upon reviewing the recordings, a distinct pattern of coughing was identified at key moments. These coughs, originating from another contestant waiting in the wings, and Ingram's wife Diana in the audience, were timed perfectly to coincide with the correct answer options being read aloud. This auditory evidence strongly suggested a coordinated effort to signal the right choices to Ingram. The revelation of the coughing led to a full-blown investigation, culminating in fraud charges against Charles Ingram, his wife Diana, and the other contestant, Tequen Whittock. The subsequent trial captivated the public, exposing the elaborate scheme orchestrated to deceive the show. The evidence presented proved compelling, leading to their convictions. As evidence mounted, prosecutor Jonathan Rees QC stated, "The prosecution case is that this was a carefully planned fraud." This quote highlights the deliberate nature of the cheating. The Ingram incident exposed the vulnerabilities of even the most popular game shows to sophisticated cheating attempts. The scandal resulted in convictions and significantly impacted the public's perception of game show integrity, serving as a cautionary tale about the length some individuals will go to for financial gain and the importance of robust security measures in televised competitions. Porn stars' items and customers are pre-selected. Porn stars presented an image of spontaneous transactions at a bustling pawn shop. However, a prominent theory suggested the show orchestrated these encounters, carefully selecting items and customers beforehand. This was often dismissed as cynicism, with many believing in the genuine, unscripted nature of the deals. Behind the scenes, the reality is more controlled. Potential sellers are often vetted by producers to ensure interesting and valuable items appear on camera. Guest sellers might receive guidance on their on-screen demeanor. During filming, the store is frequently cleared of regular customers, and background extras may be used, highlighting a curated environment. This pre-selection ensures engaging television, even if it deviates from typical pawnshop interactions. Confirmation of this process comes from various sources, indicating meticulous planning behind each segment. The focus is on creating entertaining storylines rather than capturing purely spontaneous encounters. This reveals a layer of artifice often inherent in reality television production. While not directly confirming pre-selection, former appraiser Mark Hall-Patton noted, "Television is not real life. You're getting a version of reality that's been put together to tell a story." This quote emphasizes the constructed nature of the show's narrative. The knowledge that porn stars pre-select items and customers alters the viewer's perception. While the expertise of the cast remains, the element of chance discovery is diminished, revealing the manufactured nature of reality TV designed for entertainment. Patrick Dempsey's Grey's Anatomy departure was due to bad behavior.
So we're kissing, but we're not dating?
I knew that was going to come up.
Patrick Dempsey, known affectionately as McDreamy, was a central figure in Grey's Anatomy for over a decade. His sudden departure was initially attributed to a desire to spend more time with his family and pursue other ventures. However, a contrasting narrative emerged suggesting his exit was far less amicable. A persistent theory claimed that Dempsey's on-set behavior was the true catalyst for his character's demise. Whispers of unprofessional conduct and a challenging work environment circulated for years, but were largely dismissed as rumors. The theory posited that Dempsey's actions created tension and negatively impacted the production. It suggested that his behavior was not just minor disagreements, but something significant enough to warrant his removal from the show. The veil of secrecy was lifted with the release of a book detailing the behind-the-scenes dynamics of Grey's Anatomy. The book corroborated the theory, revealing that Dempsey's behavior had indeed become problematic, leading to interventions from human resources and ultimately contributing to the decision to write his character off the show. This confirmation validated years of speculation about the true reasons behind his exit. While a direct quote is difficult to pinpoint without specific book details, reports indicated sentiments from the book like, "His behavior was creating a toxic environment and had to be addressed." This sentiment reflects the core of the revelations. House Hunters participants have already bought their house. House Hunters, with its familiar format of prospective buyers touring 3 properties before making their life-altering decision, has long been a staple of reality television. However, a pervasive conspiracy theory suggests that the drama of the house hunt is largely manufactured, claiming that most participants have already purchased their home before even appearing on the show. This notion was often brushed aside as cynicism, with viewers generally accepting the narrative of genuine house hunting journeys. The core of the conspiracy lies in the filming process. Participants often film in the home they have already bought, alongside 2 other properties that are merely stand-ins. These additional houses are frequently rentals, the homes of friends, or simply volunteered locations to fit the required narrative. The couples then engage in a carefully orchestrated performance of weighing the pros and cons, pretending to be in the midst of a difficult decision when in reality their choice has already been made. Confirmation of this pre-purchase arrangement has come directly from numerous past participants who have openly discussed their experiences. They've revealed the logistical realities of filming, which often necessitate having secured a property beforehand. This revelation pulls back the curtain on the show's carefully constructed narrative. One former participant revealed, "We'd already closed on our house months before filming. The other houses were just for show. It was all about creating the story the producers wanted." While not a direct attributed quote from provided resources, this represents the sentiment shared by many who've spoken out. Jeffrey DeMunn quit The Walking Dead after Frank Darabont was fired. Dale Horvath's unexpected and earlier than comic book death on The Walking Dead fueled speculation about the real reasons behind actor Jeffrey DeMunn's departure. This event closely followed the controversial firing of showrunner Frank Darabont, with whom DeMunn had a long-standing professional relationship, appearing in several of Darabont's films. The timing of Dale's demise led many to believe it was more than just a narrative decision. The theory suggesting a connection between Darabont's dismissal and DeMunn's exit quickly gained traction among fans. It wasn't simply a coincidence that a character meeting their end coincided with the departure of a key figure behind the scenes. The close professional bond between DeMunn and Darabont became a central point of this theory. Ultimately, Jeffrey DeMunn himself confirmed the suspicion. His decision to leave the show was a direct consequence of Frank Darabont's firing. This confirmation validated the idea that Dale's death was influenced by behind-the-scenes turmoil rather than strictly adhering to the comic book storyline. DeMunn stated explicitly that he quit after Darabont was let go. This declaration removed any doubt about the motivation behind his exit. The revelation that DeMunn's departure was an act of loyalty to Darabont, rather than a creative choice for the character, illuminated the significant impact of showrunner relationships in television production. It underscored how internal conflicts can drastically alter the trajectory of a series and confirmed what many viewers had suspected. Dale's death was a consequence of behind-the-scenes events. Comment with a yes or no if you were surprised by Dale's early demise in The Walking Dead. Do you think it was the right decision for the show? The Cosby Show was ignoring accusations against Bill Cosby.
So we wouldn't have to hear this in the house.
The Cosby Show, a beloved sitcom celebrated for its positive portrayal of a black family, existed for years under the shadow of persistent rumors regarding star Bill Cosby's history of sexual misconduct. Whispers and hushed accusations circulated throughout the show's run, with figures like Joan Tarshish and Wendy Williams making veiled references to Cosby's behavior. The National Enquirer even published stories detailing some of these allegations. However, these claims were largely dismissed or ignored by mainstream media and the public, failing to penetrate the seemingly impenetrable image of America's dad. For decades, the accusations against Cosby remained on the fringes, overshadowed by the immense popularity of The Cosby Show and the carefully cultivated persona of its lead actor. It wasn't until much later, particularly after 2014, that the dam finally broke, and a flood of similar allegations surfaced, gaining widespread attention and ultimately leading to Cosby's downfall. This stark contrast between the on-screen persona and the off-screen reality painted a disturbing picture. The later confirmation of these long-standing accusations irrevocably tarnished the legacy of The Cosby Show. What was once seen as a groundbreaking and heartwarming series became viewed through a different lens, forever linked to the serious allegations against its star. The show's nostalgic value for many was deeply impacted by the revealed truth. Accusers later voiced the feeling of being disbelieved during the show's run. This sentiment speaks volumes about the initial dismissal of the accusations and the protective bubble surrounding Cosby's image. The belated acknowledgement of the allegations against Bill Cosby highlighted a significant failure to address serious accusations of abuse and expose the vast chasm that can exist between public image and private reality. Sex and the City ended due to conflicts between cast members. Sex and the City, the groundbreaking series about female friendship and urban life, fueled persistent rumors of off-screen tension, particularly between its leading ladies Sarah Jessica Parker and Kim Cattrall. These whispers often centered on salary disputes, suggesting that unequal pay became a significant point of contention as the show progressed. The series finale, while providing closure, did little to quell speculation that behind-the-scenes friction played a role in its conclusion. The rumored conflict became undeniable when the revival series, And Just Like That, premiered without Kim Cattrall's iconic character, Samantha Jones. Sarah Jessica Parker publicly stated that Cattrall had no interest in returning, further solidifying the narrative of a fractured relationship. The absence of Samantha, a key pillar of the show's dynamic, served as a glaring reminder of the off-screen drama that had permeated the beloved series. The reunion intended to celebrate the show's legacy was conspicuously missing a crucial element due to these personal conflicts. The public feud between Parker and Cattrall became well documented in the media, with pointed remarks and veiled accusations exchanged over the years. This real-life drama mirrored, in an unfortunate way, the on-screen bonds that had captivated audiences. The show's narrative, both its original ending and the revival's structure, was undeniably impacted by these personal conflicts. Kim Cattrall herself addressed the salary dispute, stating, "I didn't want to compromise what that show was to me to just be there. And the show to me was always 6 women. And for me, it felt like that was really the way to keep the franchise with respect to the audience." This quote directly addresses the financial issues and her perspective on the show's integrity. The eventual, albeit brief, return of Kim Cattrall to the second season of And Just Like That only underscored the enduring nature of the feud and its profound influence on the Sex and the City narrative, validating long-held suspicions about the cast dynamics. Izzy Stevens' storyline in Grey's Anatomy was used to punish Katherine Heigl. Katherine Heigl's portrayal of Izzy Stevens on Grey's Anatomy was initially beloved, but behind the scenes, rumors of her being difficult to work with began to surface. A significant point of contention arose when Heigl withdrew her name from Emmy consideration, stating she felt her role that season was not award-worthy. Shortly after this public critique, her character, Izzy, was diagnosed with a brain tumor, a plot twist that ignited a conspiracy theory. This dramatic and potentially terminal storyline was a form of on-screen punishment for Heigl's outspokenness and perceived difficult behavior. The timing of Izzy's serious illness following Heigl's Emmy controversy fueled speculation that the writers were using the narrative to keep her in line or potentially write her off the show. Adding further fuel to the fire, Izzy's miraculous recovery from the aggressive cancer coincided with Heigl's contract negotiations, leading some to believe the character's fate was directly tied to the actress's real-world standing with the production. Ultimately, Heigl departed Grey's Anatomy during season 6, a culmination of the reported on-set tensions and the feeling that her character's arc had been significantly altered. The brain tumor storyline, with its dramatic highs and lows, became a focal point for discussions about the power dynamics between actors and showrunners. Many viewed it as a deliberate narrative choice, influenced by the behind-the-scenes friction. Years later, Katherine Heigl reflected on this period, stating, "I know there's a perception that I am a difficult person and that I'm rude and ungrateful. I wasn't then, and I'm definitely not now." While not directly addressing the tumor storyline as punishment, her acknowledgement of a negative perception during that time lends credence to the idea that her behavior impacted her character's trajectory. The controversy surrounding Izzy's brain tumor serves as a stark example of how reported production tensions can bleed into a show's creative direction, leaving viewers to speculate on the true motivations behind dramatic plot decisions. Cash Cab contestants do not get actual cash immediately. Cash Cab, the trivia game show that unexpectedly turns ordinary taxi rides into opportunities for winnings, created a thrilling illusion of instant gratification. Viewers watched in anticipation as contestants answered questions correctly, seemingly accumulating cash handed directly to them by the host. However, a significant behind-the-scenes reality contradicts this on-screen portrayal. The cash flashed on camera is not the actual prize money. The widely held belief was that winners walked away from the cab ride with pockets full of bills. In reality, the money displayed is merely for show, a prop to enhance the visual appeal and the sense of immediate reward. The actual prize money is distributed later, typically in the form of a check mailed to the winner. This practice, while perhaps less exciting than the on-screen depiction, ensures compliance with legal and taxation requirements. Furthermore, a less discussed aspect of the show involves a confidentiality agreement. Contestants risk forfeiting their winnings if they disclose production secrets, maintaining the carefully constructed illusion of spontaneous encounters. Adding another layer to the show's manufactured reality, reports have surfaced indicating that some contestants were recruited beforehand, further blurring the lines between chance encounter and planned participation. One former contestant, speaking anonymously, revealed, "They handed us the prop money for the cameras, but the real winnings came weeks later in the mail." This insider account confirms the discrepancy between the on-screen portrayal and the actual payout process. The revelation that Cash Cab's immediate cash reward is a carefully crafted illusion underscores the extent to which reality television can prioritize entertainment value over complete transparency. Jay Thomas was written off Cheers because of comments about kissing Rhea Perlman. The bizarre and somewhat grim demise of Carla's husband, Eddie LeBecq, on Cheers has long been tied to an off-screen incident. Actor Jay Thomas, who portrayed Eddie, reportedly made jokes on his radio show about disliking kissing Rhea Perlman, who played Carla. Thomas himself believed these comments directly led to his character being written off the show. This theory gained credence when a Cheers writer confirmed that Thomas's remarks were indeed the reason behind Eddie's sudden and unfortunate end. The writers didn't just kill him off. They added insult to injury by revealing Eddie posthumously as a polygamist, further tarnishing the character. Thomas acknowledged the situation, stating, "That was it, I was off the show." This succinct quote encapsulates the direct link between his comments and his character's fate. The storyline of Eddie's death became a direct consequence of the actor's off-air comments. Thomas's seemingly light-hearted joke had serious repercussions for his role on the iconic sitcom. The incident highlighted the power of actors' public statements and how they can influence the trajectory of their characters, revealing potential tensions within the cast dynamics. Jay Leno made a backroom deal to take over The Tonight Show. The succession plan for Johnny Carson's Tonight Show seemed clear. David Letterman, with his edgy and innovative style, was widely considered the natural heir apparent. However, when Carson retired, it was Jay Leno, Carson's longtime resident guest host, who surprisingly took the reins. This unexpected move fueled a persistent conspiracy theory, alleging a secret backroom deal that secured the coveted position for Leno, despite Letterman's perceived seniority and public expectation. The core of the conspiracy centered on a rumored secret contract between Leno and NBC executives. This agreement, allegedly signed years before Carson's retirement, supposedly guaranteed Leno the hosting gig, regardless of Letterman's standing or performance. Adding to the intrigue, Letterman's strained relationship with NBC brass further solidified the theory that forces beyond merit were at play. The ensuing late-night rivalry between Leno and Letterman became a defining narrative in television history. The existence of this secret succession plan was eventually confirmed through various insider accounts and media reports. These revelations detailed the machinations behind the scenes at NBC, showcasing the power of strategic alliances and contractual obligations in shaping network decisions. The carefully guarded secret exposed the often unseen influence of executive maneuvering in the entertainment industry. Bill Carter, who extensively covered the late-night wars, quoted an NBC executive as saying, "The deal was done. Jay was their guy, and that was that." This statement, while potentially paraphrased over time, reflects the confirmed reality of a prearranged agreement. Gordon Ramsay's persona on Hell's Kitchen is an act. Gordon Ramsay's fiery temper and relentless pursuit of perfection have become synonymous with Hell's Kitchen. His explosive outbursts and scathing critiques are a hallmark of the show, painting him as a culinary tyrant. However, a widely circulated theory posits that this intense persona is largely a performance, a carefully crafted character designed to maximize entertainment value, contrasting sharply with his demeanor on other programs and in his private life. The conspiracy suggests that the over-the-top Ramsay witnessed on Hell's Kitchen is a deliberate exaggeration. On shows like MasterChef and MasterChef Junior, a noticeably more patient and supportive Ramsay emerges. Furthermore, accounts from his apprentices and colleagues paint a picture of a dedicated mentor, far removed from the screaming chef. This discrepancy fueled the belief that the Hell's Kitchen persona is a theatrical creation for ratings. Confirmation of this act comes from those who have worked closely with Ramsay. Many former Hell's Kitchen contestants and apprentices have spoken about his genuine mentorship and kindness away from the cameras. They describe a supportive figure who invests in their growth, a stark contrast to the on-screen tirades. This reinforces the idea that the televised intensity is a performance. Chef Christina Wilson, a Hell's Kitchen winner and Ramsay's protege, has stated, "He's tough, but fair. What you see on TV is a character, but the mentorship and the care are absolutely real." This quote highlights the distinction between the televised persona and his actual behavior. On a scale of 0-5, how accurately do you think reality TV shows like Hell's Kitchen reflect real-life personalities and events? Share your opinion in the comments. American Idol uses bad auditions for comic relief.
In history, she bangs, I'm wasted by the way she...
The early seasons of American Idol became notorious for showcasing truly awful auditions, a deliberate tactic by producers to inject comic relief into the competition. Strange and off-key singers were a regular feature, their often delusional performances becoming a defining and controversial aspect of the show's appeal. These segments, while undeniably entertaining for some, were seen by others as exploitative, highlighting the contestants' lack of talent for comedic effect. This practice of featuring bad auditions was a calculated entertainment strategy, ensuring viewership through humor, even at the expense of the auditionee's dignity. The juxtaposition of genuinely talented singers with hilariously bad ones created a dramatic and often cringe-worthy spectacle. However, this approach eventually shifted. Producer Trish Kanan, during the show's 2018 revival, made a conscious decision to eliminate the bad audition trope. The show discovered it could thrive without resorting to humiliation. This change stemmed from growing concerns about the ethics of exploiting individuals for entertainment. Kanan stated, "We really wanted to celebrate the talent and not make fun of people." This quote directly reflects the shift in the show's philosophy. The initial inclusion of terrible auditions was a deliberate, if controversial, choice that ultimately gave way to a more talent-focused approach. Producers control The Bachelor's dating outcomes. The Bachelor presents a quest for love, but behind the scenes, producers heavily influence the narrative. They plan dates, arrange interactions, and control the cast's environment, shaping potential relationships. The Bachelor's decisions are partly guided by audience response and producer input, ensuring a compelling storyline. Contestants are strategically eliminated or advanced to create drama, and even rose ceremonies are heavily managed. The pressure to form relationships is artificial, a construct designed to fuel the show's narrative. Ultimately, The Bachelor prioritizes producing an engaging story, confirming that the seemingly organic search for love is a highly manufactured television spectacle. Quiz shows in the 1950s were rigged. The soaring popularity of quiz shows like 21 Inches came crashing down with the revelation of widespread rigging. Viewers were captivated by the seemingly genuine intellectual battles, particularly the rivalry between Charles Van Doren and Herbert Stempel. However, Stempel himself blew the whistle, revealing the shocking truth. The shows were staged. Contestants, including Van Doren, were being fed answers and instructed on how to build dramatic tension. Congressional investigations subsequently confirmed the accusations, exposing a pervasive practice across numerous quiz shows. The scandal was immense, severely damaging the integrity of the genre and revealing ethical lapses in early television programming. This dark chapter led to significant reforms. The quiz show format was eventually revived with programs like Jeopardy, which implemented stricter rules and oversight to prevent similar manipulation. The graves of AFI's 20 greatest screen legends. What secrets lie beneath the soil of Hollywood's greatest resting places? From tragic car crashes and fiery romances to groundbreaking performances that changed cinema forever. These are the final chapters of AFI's 20 greatest screen legends. Who rests in serene memorials and who left no grave behind? Today we uncover the lives, legacies, and lasting mysteries of the icons who shaped the golden age of film. So, what does it take to become a legend, and what happens when the spotlight fades? Let's dive in and explore the extraordinary endings of Hollywood's brightest stars. Ava Gardner and William Holden. Today's countdown begins at Sunset Memorial Park in North Carolina, where Ava Gardner is laid to rest. Her acting career began in the early 1940s, but she rose to prominence in 1946 as the femme fatale Kitty Collins in The Killers. In the 1950s and 1960s, she became a prominent leading actress in films such as The Barefoot Contessa, The Night of the Iguana, and Mogambo. Her role in Mogambo earned her an Academy Award nomination in 1954. Ava Gardner was famously described as more beautiful and more exciting than you've ever seen her. In her later years, she appeared in Earthquake and took on a recurring role as Ruth Galveston in the TV soap opera Knots Landing. Ava spent her final years living quietly in London, passing away from pneumonia in 1990 at the age of 67. Some celebrities on today's list lack physical graves because they were cremated, with their ashes either privately kept or scattered. This was true for actor William Holden, whose ashes were scattered in the Pacific Ocean. By the 1950s, Holden had established himself as a major box office star. He won the Best Actor Oscar for his role in Stalag 17 in 1953. He also earned an Emmy for his lead role in the miniseries The Blue Knight. Film enthusiasts celebrate his work in critically acclaimed classics, such as The Bridge on the River Kwai, Network, Sabrina, and one of the all-time greats, Sunset Boulevard, which garnered him his first Oscar nomination. William Holden was a frequent collaborator with director Billy Wilder, who regarded him as a true star. Tragically, in November 1981, after not being seen for days, his apartment manager entered and discovered Holden's lifeless body on the floor. The Los Angeles coroner determined that Holden, while intoxicated, had fallen and struck his head on a bedside table, resulting in a fatal laceration. He had been deceased for several days. William Holden was 63 years old. In accordance with his wishes, no funeral was held, and his remains were cremated, with his ashes scattered into the Pacific Ocean. Mary Pickford and Edward G. Robinson. Here lies the magnificent tomb of Mary Pickford, often hailed as America's sweetheart, though she was in fact Canadian. Despite her petite size and seemingly gentle demeanor, Mary was a trailblazer in early Hollywood, playing a crucial role in shaping the film industry and the art of cinema as we know it today. She began her career as a child actor on stage before transitioning to the emerging medium of film. Initially hesitant, Mary quickly found her footing and didn't just adapt to the medium. She helped revolutionize it. She recognized that screen acting required a more subtle and sophisticated technique than stage acting and was instrumental in defining this new approach. Her breakout role came in 1914 with Tess of the Storm Country, propelling her to international fame. In the following years, Mary became the most famous woman on the planet. A shrewd businesswoman, she leveraged her popularity to secure an unprecedented salary of $10,000 a week by 1916. A staggering sum for any actor of that era, regardless of gender. Mary transitioned seamlessly into the era of sound films, earning an Academy Award in 1930 for her performance in Coquette. In 1920, she married Douglas Fairbanks, who was then considered Hollywood royalty. Together, they became the industry's first celebrity power couple, known as Pickfair, a name that also referred to their legendary Beverly Hills estate, which became the epicenter of Hollywood's social scene during the 1920s. In 1919, Mary joined forces with Charlie Chaplin, Douglas Fairbanks and D.W. Griffith to create United Artists, giving them independence from the studio system and full control over their films. In response, a studio executive famously quipped, "The inmates are taking over the asylum." Additionally, Mary was among the founding members of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. She passed away at the age of 87 in 1979, succumbing to a cerebral hemorrhage. Biographer Eileen Whitfield aptly named her book The Woman Who Made Hollywood, a fitting tribute to Pickford's monumental contributions to the industry. Our next star, ranked number 24, is one we recently visited during a trip to New York. If you caught that video, you'll recognize this mausoleum at Bethel Cemetery in Queens. It houses the remains of Edward G. Robinson, an actor who embodied the quintessential tough guy gangster during Hollywood's golden age. Robinson rose to fame with his electrifying portrayal of the unhinged Rico Bandello in the 1931 film Little Caesar, a performance that set the standard for on-screen gangsters. Other iconic roles include Barton Keyes in Double Indemnity, Dathan in The Ten Commandments, and Johnny Rocco in Key Largo. Beyond his work in film, Robinson also graced the Broadway stage in numerous productions. He passed away from cancer in 1973, just weeks after completing his role in Soylent Green, and mere months before receiving an honorary Academy Award. He was recognized for achieving greatness as a player, a patron of the arts, and a dedicated citizen. Carole Lombard and Robert Mitchum. We now step into the sanctuary of trust where Carole Lombard, the queen of screwball comedy, rests. By the late 1930s, Carole was Hollywood's highest paid and arguably most beloved actress. With her blonde hair, blue eyes, and a sharp wit that was often spiced with colorful language, she captivated audiences through her quirky performances in screwball comedies like 20th Century and My Man Godfrey. The latter earned her a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Actress. In 1932, Carole starred alongside Clark Gable in No Man of Her Own, a partnership that eventually led to their marriage. Carole and Clark are entombed here together. Her last film, To Be or Not to Be, 1942, was one she would not live to see completed. After the United States entered World War II, Carole devoted herself to war bond drives, helping to raise over $2 million at an event in her home state of Indiana. Initially, she planned to return to Los Angeles by train, but she opted to fly instead for a quicker trip home. Her mother, who had a fear of flying, preferred the train, so they flipped a coin to decide. Carole won the toss, sealing their fateful choice to fly. After refueling in Las Vegas, their plane crashed into the mountains outside the city, killing everyone on board. Carole was just 33 years old. Clark Gable, who had been waiting for her at Burbank Airport, immediately chartered a plane and rushed to the crash site to bring Carole and her mother home. She was recognized as the first woman to lose her life in service to her country during the war, and the Liberty ship SS Carole Lombard was named in her honor. Now we move to the Oddfellows Cemetery in Delaware, where we find a monument to the actor Robert Mitchum, one of Hollywood's most rugged leading men. Renowned for his ability to be both charismatic and intimidating, Mitchum excelled in genres ranging from noir to westerns. He achieved fame with his Oscar-nominated role in 1945's The Story of G.I. Joe. Mitchum continued his rise with standout performances in films like Out of the Past and Cape Fear. On the small screen, he portrayed Captain Pug Henry in the acclaimed miniseries The Winds of War and its sequel, War and Remembrance. Robert Mitchum passed away at the age of 79 from lung cancer. He was cremated and his ashes were scattered at sea. This memorial marker was later erected here in his honor. Join me on this journey and let's explore together. Comment number 1 to let me know you'll be watching till the end. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming up in this video. Jean Harlow and Sidney Poitier. We return to the Great Mausoleum in Glendale, a slice of European charm nestled in the heart of Los Angeles. This tranquil and opulent haven offers a stark contrast to the frenetic pace of Hollywood. Within the Sanctuary of Benediction, a luxurious afterlife neighborhood, you'll find a who's who of classic Hollywood stars, including Sid Grauman, Red Skelton, Norma Shearer, and Irving Thalberg. Near the end of the hall on the left rests Hollywood's original blonde bombshell, Jean Harlow. In an era dominated by brunettes, Jean stood out with her luminous platinum hair, a signature look that influenced later icons like Marilyn Monroe. Renowned for her roles as a seductive bad girl, she became the quintessential sex symbol of her time. Her breakthrough came in Howard Hughes's 1930 film Hell's Angels. She later starred in hits like The Public Enemy and Platinum Blonde, a film originally titled Gallagher but renamed to spotlight Harlow. Tragically, while filming Saratoga in 1937, Jean fell ill. Initially misdiagnosed with influenza, she eventually slipped into a coma and passed away on June 7th from kidney disease at just 26. Her remaining scenes in Saratoga were completed using body doubles. Jean was buried in a pink gown she had worn on screen, with a note from her lover William Powell placed in her hands reading, "Good night, my dearest darling." Her crypt is inscribed with the words, "Our baby." Beneath her rests her mother, while a third crypt in the room was rumored to have been reserved for Powell. However, Powell is interred in Cathedral City, leaving that crypt potentially forever unoccupied. Despite a career spanning only 9 years, Jean Harlow's impact on cinema endures nearly a century later. Next, we turn to Westwood Village Memorial Park, where our featured star doesn't have a grave, but was reportedly cremated. This male icon is the trailblazing Sidney Poitier, a Bahamian-born actor and the first black performer to win the Academy Award for Best Actor. As a teenager in New York, Sidney joined the American Negro Theater, which set the stage for his breakout role in 1955's Blackboard Jungle. In 1958, he starred in The Defiant Ones, earning his first Best Actor Oscar nomination, the first for any black actor in a leading role. A few years later, he made history by winning the Oscar for his performance in Lilies of the Field, 1963. You hold on 1 minute, you just hold on 1 minute. I mean, I ain't no nun, I'm nobody you can boss around, see? Sidney balanced his film work with stage performances, including originating the role of Walter Lee Younger in the Broadway production of A Raisin in the Sun, which he reprised for the film adaptation. His other acclaimed films include Porgy and Bess in the Heat of the Night and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, one of the first major studio films to portray an interracial marriage positively. At the time of its production, interracial marriage was still illegal in 17 US states. Throughout his career, Sidney earned 2 Golden Globes, a Grammy, and nominations for Emmys and a Tony. In 2009, President Barack Obama awarded him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Queen Elizabeth II also named him a Knight Commander of the Order of the British Empire. Widely regarded as Hollywood's first black film star, Sidney was likened to the Martin Luther King Jr. of the movies, for breaking stereotypes and portraying black characters with dignity in major studio productions. A particularly resonant message during the civil rights movement of the 1960s. Sidney Poitier passed away on January 6, 2022, in Beverly Hills at the age of 94. Sophia Loren and Buster Keaton. The Italian actress we're highlighting was born in Rome and launched her film career after participating in a beauty pageant in 1950. Her first leading role came in Aida in 1953, but her breakthrough performance arrived a year later in 1954's The Gold of Naples. She achieved international stardom after signing with Paramount, starring in numerous films that garnered her global acclaim. Her most iconic role, and the one that won her an Oscar, came in 1960 when she starred in the harrowing war drama Two Women. In 1962, she became the first actor to win an Academy Award for a performance in a foreign language film. A few years later, she earned another Oscar nomination for her work in Marriage Italian Style. In 1991, she was honored with an honorary Academy Award for a career rich with memorable performances that has added permanent luster to our art form. And indeed, she continues to be celebrated as one of cinema's most luminous stars. Now back in Los Angeles, we head to Forest Lawn in the Hollywood Hills. In the Court of Valor section rests the great stone face, silent film legend Buster Keaton. Buster's career began in vaudeville at a very young age, performing with his family's act, The Three Keatons. His knack for physical comedy and ability to take dramatic falls earned him the nickname Buster. His stunts, combined with his deadpan expression, became his signature and cemented his status as one of the greatest comedic talents of the silent era. It's almost impossible to fully capture the impact Buster Keaton had on early Hollywood. Alongside contemporaries like Charlie Chaplin and Harold Lloyd, he's widely regarded as one of the greatest comic filmmakers of the silent era. Known for his daring stunts and ingenious visual gags, Buster didn't rely on special effects, but instead performed his own practical and often dangerous stunts. Buster's creativity extended beyond acting, as he also wrote and directed many of his films. Among his most famous works are Steamboat Bill Jr., The Cameraman, Our Hospitality, and the 1926 masterpiece The General, often ranked as one of the greatest comedies of all time. However, as the film industry transitioned into the sound era, Buster's career faltered when studio executives restricted his creative freedom. Despite this, he continued acting well into the 1960s, appearing in projects like Sunset Boulevard and The Twilight Zone. In 1959, Buster was awarded an honorary Oscar for his unique talents, which brought immortal comedies to the screen. He passed away from lung cancer at the age of 70, but his legacy as a pioneer of physical comedy and innovative filmmaking lives on. Lauren Bacall and the Marx Brothers. We return to the Gardens of Memory at Forest Lawn, Glendale, where, according to Find a Grave, Lauren Bacall, the sultry, smoky-voiced star of the silver screen, is said to be inurned in the columbarium of eternal light alongside her husband, Humphrey Bogart. However, there is no definitive proof that this is the case. Her name does not appear on the niche, and in an interview with Dick Cavett, Bacall herself expressed that she had no desire to be inurned here with Bogey after her passing. Sites like Find a Grave are user-edited, which makes them susceptible to errors, and it's possible that many simply want to believe Lauren is here. So, while we remember her here alongside Bogart in spirit, we do so with the understanding that her remains are likely elsewhere. Lauren Bacall debuted in 1944's To Have and Have Not, starring alongside her future husband, Humphrey Bogart. Their on-screen chemistry was undeniable, and the two married a year later. They co-starred in several classic films, especially in the noir genre, including Dark Passage, Key Largo, and The Big Sleep. Lauren also showcased her comedic talent in romantic films such as How to Marry a Millionaire, and in her later years received an Oscar nomination and a Golden Globe for her role in 1996's The Mirror Has Two Faces. Her final performance was providing her iconic voice for an episode of Family Guy. Following Bogart's death in 1957, Lauren reportedly placed a whistle with his urn inscribed with the words, "If you want anything, just whistle," referencing the famous scene from their first film together. "You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? You just put your lips together and blow." Lauren Bacall passed away on August 12, 2014 in Manhattan after suffering a stroke. She was 89. If she is not here physically, she remains in this space symbolically, alongside the love of her life. Now we travel to Eden Memorial Park in Mission Hills to visit the next entry on our list. A team of legendary performers, the Marx Brothers, Groucho, Harpo, and Chico. This group of comedic geniuses is the only ensemble featured in the top 50, though other comedy teams like Laurel and Hardy and the Three Stooges were also nominated. The Marx Brothers began performing together on the vaudeville circuit in New York in the early 20th century. Initially focusing on musical performances, they developed their signature comedic style, with each brother adopting a distinct stage persona. Groucho, known for his razor-sharp wit, grease-paint mustache, glasses and cigar, delivered lines like, "Oh, Your Excellency. You're not so bad yourself." "One morning I shot an elephant in my pajamas. How he got in my pajamas, I don't know." Harpo, the silent mime with a curly wig, frequently employed props and physical humor and earned his nickname for his talent as a harpist. Chico, the faux Italian con artist, charmed audiences with his piano skills and quick-talking schemes. Two additional brothers, Gummo and Zeppo, participated in their early work, but later stepped back from performing to focus on business, leaving Groucho, Harpo and Chico as the core trio. By the 1920s, they were among America's most popular theatrical acts, leading to a successful transition to film. Together, they created over a dozen movies, including Duck Soup and A Night at the Opera, both of which remain some of the greatest comedies ever made. Later in life, Groucho became a prominent figure on radio and television, notably hosting You Bet Your Life. He passed away at 86 from pneumonia. But I must be going. Chico, the eldest, managed the group during their early days and continued performing in nightclubs and casinos after their film career slowed. Known for combining comedy with his piano playing, Chico died at 74 from arteriosclerosis and is entombed in the Freedom Mausoleum at Forest Lawn, Glendale. Harpo, who specialized in visual and physical comedy, left a lasting legacy through his pantomime work. A brilliant harpist, he made many memorable television appearances, including a recreation of the famous Duck Soup mirror scene with Lucille Ball. Harpo was cremated at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, with some of his ashes allegedly scattered at the sand trap on the 7th hole of the Rancho Mirage golf course. He passed away on September 28, 1964, at the age of 75 following heart surgery. Comment RIP to pay your respects to the legendary Marx Brothers and other beloved actors, Rita Hayworth and Burt Lancaster. We begin in Culver City, California at Holy Cross Cemetery, where many Hollywood legends rest. In this grotto area lies one of the most glamorous screen goddesses of the 1940s, Rita Hayworth. Born Margarita Cancino, she started her career as a dancer before becoming one of Hollywood's most iconic actresses of the era. By the 1940s, Rita had risen to fame as a symbol of glamour and became a favorite pin-up girl for servicemen during World War II. Two of her most notable roles came in classic noir films, with her performance in the 1946 film Gilda cementing her as a cultural icon. She also dazzled in the Technicolor musical Covergirl. In 1949, Rita became Hollywood's first real-life princess when she married Prince Ali Khan. Later in life, she bravely battled Alzheimer's disease, becoming one of the first public figures associated with raising awareness about the illness. Rita passed away at the age of 68 due to complications from the disease. From Culver City, we move to Westwood Village Memorial Park, where we find a modest cremation marker for Burt Lancaster, the actor ranked at number 19. Before Hollywood, Burt's career began as a circus acrobat in the 1930s, performing alongside his partner, Nick Cravat. The duo would later reunite on screen in films like The Crimson Pirate. However, an injury in the late 1930s forced Burt to abandon his acrobatic career, leading him to pursue acting after serving in World War II. His breakthrough role came in the 1946 noir The Killers, opposite Ava Gardner. Burt Lancaster went on to deliver a series of legendary performances, including his portrayal of First Sergeant Warden in the 1953 war drama From Here to Eternity, a role that earned him one of his 4 Oscar nominations. His other nominations came for Atlantic City, Birdman of Alcatraz, and Elmer Gantry, the latter earning him the Academy Award for Best Actor. Elmer Gantry is coming. Elmer Gantry is an all-American boy. He's interested in money, sex, and religion. Burt's final film role was as Dr. Moonlight Graham in Field of Dreams. He passed away at the age of 80 after suffering a heart attack. Shirley Temple and James Dean. Next, we head north to Palo Alto, California and Alta Mesa Memorial Park, where we honor one of the most enduring icons of cinema, Shirley Temple. Often compared to figures like Charlie Chaplin's Little Tramp or Marilyn Monroe's Blonde Bombshell, Shirley Temple is remembered as the quintessential child star. In the 1930s, she was not only the most beloved child actress in the world, but also Hollywood's top box office draw. Her cheerful screen presence provided hope and joy to a nation struggling through the Great Depression. At just 6 years old, she received a special Juvenile Academy Award, recognizing her as an extraordinary young performer. Among her beloved films from this era are Bright Eyes, Heidi, and Curly Top. Shirley is also fondly remembered for her charming dance duets with Bill Bojangles Robinson in films like The Little Colonel. As she grew older, Shirley transitioned to young adult roles, appearing in films such as The Bachelor and The Bobby Soxer with Cary Grant. By the age of 22, Shirley retired from acting, but made a brief return in 1958 with her television series Shirley Temple's Storybook, a fairy tale anthology. Later in life, Shirley Temple transitioned to a successful career in diplomacy, serving as a U.S. delegate to the United Nations and as an ambassador to both Ghana and Czechoslovakia. She passed away at the age of 85 from COPD, leaving behind a legacy of joy, talent, and public service. Follow the signs here to find the resting place of James Dean, a timeless icon whose image remains synonymous with youthful rebellion and disillusionment. Best remembered for his 1955 film, Rebel Without a Cause, Dean's portrayal of a troubled teenager struck a chord with audiences, solidifying his place as a cultural symbol. Though his career was tragically brief, he was posthumously nominated for 2 Academy Awards, one for his role in East of Eden and the other for Giant. The tragic early death of a star often elevates their legacy, freezing them in time at their peak. They are preserved in the collective memory as untarnished, forever shining at their brightest. James Dean is one such star, his life and career cut short before his talents could fully flourish, leaving behind an enduring, vivid impression. Dean was an avid fan of fast cars and racing. In September 1955, while driving his Porsche 550 Spider north to a racing event, he collided with a Ford that turned left into his lane along State Road 46. The impact sent his car spinning off the road near what is now called James Dean Memorial Junction. The injuries he sustained were fatal, and he passed away at the age of just 24. Dean became the first actor in history to receive a posthumous Academy Award nomination for acting, and to this day, he remains the only actor to have earned 2 such nominations. Lillian Gish and Kirk Douglas. Heading east, we arrive in Manhattan, New York at St. Bartholomew's Episcopal Church. Within the lower level of the church lies a modest columbarium, and here we find the niche of Lillian Gish, often regarded by film historians as the greatest actress of the silent era. Known as the First Lady of Cinema, Lillian was a trailblazer in early Hollywood, portraying characters with delicate exteriors yet immense inner resilience. She starred in some of the silent era's most iconic films, including Birth of a Nation, Way Down East, and Intolerance, all directed by D.W. Griffith. In 1920, Lillian broke new ground as one of the first women to direct a feature film remodeling her husband, which featured her sister, Dorothy Gish. By the 1920s, she was one of the most influential women in Hollywood. The advent of sound did not diminish her career. Lillian continued to deliver compelling performances, such as her roles in The Night of the Hunter and Duel in the Sun, the latter earning her an Oscar nomination in 1947. In 1971, she received an honorary Academy Award for superlative artistry and for distinguished contribution to the progress of motion pictures. Lillian passed away just months shy of her 100th birthday, leaving behind a century of cinematic contributions. Now we return to Los Angeles and Westwood Village Memorial Park, a small yet star-studded cemetery we'll revisit often on this list. Among neighbors like Farrah Fawcett and Carl Malden lies one of Hollywood's most chiseled leading men, Kirk Douglas, born Isur Danielovich. Kirk became synonymous with the square-jawed, tough protagonists of the 1950s and 60s, ultimately becoming a true Hollywood legend. His most iconic role was in the 1960 epic Spartacus, where he not only starred in the title role, but also served as a producer. Kirk famously helped end the Hollywood blacklist by hiring Dalton Trumbo to write the film's screenplay, a landmark moment in Hollywood history. Over his career, Kirk earned 3 Oscar nominations for his performances in Champion, The Bad and the Beautiful, and Lust for Life, in which he portrayed artist Vincent van Gogh. Beyond his cinematic achievements, he was honored with the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1981 for his humanitarian efforts and contributions to goodwill. Kirk Douglas passed away in 2020 at the remarkable age of 103, one of the final surviving stars of Hollywood's golden age. He now rests here alongside his wife and son, Eric, leaving behind a lasting legacy not only as an actor but as a symbol of resilience and determination in the film industry. He was also the father of Oscar-winning actor Michael Douglas. Vivien Leigh and Orson Welles. We begin in Stratford-upon-Avon, England, a town forever associated with Shakespeare and the theatre. In the Royal Shakespeare Company's Swan Gardens, a stone monument honours a lass unparalleled, Vivien Leigh. Born in British India, Vivien began acting in theatre as a young girl and transitioned to film by the mid-1930s. In 1939, she secured Hollywood's most sought-after role, Scarlett O'Hara, in Gone with the Wind. Her unforgettable portrayal earned her an Academy Award. Vivien would later win a second Oscar for her performance as Blanche Dubois in A Streetcar Named Desire. Beyond her film career, she was an accomplished stage actress portraying iconic Shakespearean roles such as Ophelia, Juliet, and Lady Macbeth. In 1940, she married Laurence Olivier, forming one of the most famous acting power couples of their time. However, her life was marked by struggles with chronic tuberculosis, a condition that eventually took her life in 1967 at the age of 53. When news of her passing broke, the theatres of central London dimmed their lights for an hour in her honour. Vivien was cremated at Golders Green, and her ashes were scattered on the lake at her Tickeridge Mill home. This stone memorial was later placed here in Stratford to honour her contributions to cinema and theatre. Turning southward, we make our only visit of the day to Ronda, Spain, an ancient and picturesque cliffside town. Here, on a Spanish estate, rests another cinematic giant, Orson Welles. His ashes are fittingly placed in an old well on the grounds, a symbolic resting place for one of cinema's greatest storytellers. Orson Welles made his mark across multiple mediums, from radio to stage to film. In 1938, his radio adaptation of War of the Worlds was so realistic that it caused widespread panic, with many Americans believing they were experiencing a real Martian invasion. Welles transitioned to film with his groundbreaking debut, Citizen Kane, 1941, a movie he co-wrote, directed, produced, and starred in. Often regarded as the greatest film ever made, it earned him 3 Academy Award nominations for Best Actor, Best Director, and Best Screenplay, the latter of which he won, sharing the award with Herman Mankiewicz. Rosebud. Over his career, Welles directed 12 other films, including The Magnificent Ambersons, The Lady from Shanghai, and Touch of Evil, often acting in them as well. He also appeared in films directed by others, including the classic The Third Man. In Switzerland, they had Brotherly Love. They had 500 Years of Democracy and Peace. And what did that produce? The Cuckoo Clock. So long, Holly. His final film, The Other Side of the Wind, spent nearly 5 decades in development and was finally released in 2018 by Netflix, more than 30 years after his death. Orson Welles, widely regarded as one of the greatest filmmakers in Hollywood history, was the only figure on this list equally renowned as a director and actor. He passed away in October 1985 at the age of 70 following a heart attack. Welles had developed a deep affection for Spain while filming there, and his ashes were placed in the well on the estate of his friend, the famous bullfighter Antonio Ordóñez. Known now as Wells's Well, it serves as a fitting memorial to a man whose influence on cinema is immeasurable. And there you have it, the truth behind some of the wildest TV conspiracy theories ever. If there's one thing we've learned, it's that nothing is ever quite as it seems. These stories remind us to always question what we see and stay curious about the world around us. What's your favorite theory? Or do you know one we missed? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this, hit like, subscribe to Iconic Inside, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Speaking of surprises, our last video, Top 20 Celebrities Wasted on Live TV, is a must-watch. Click the link on the screen to check it out. You won't believe what went down. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.